Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Just a Pilgrim #1 by Garth, Ennis, and Ezquezera. I don't know his first name, Carlos Ezquezera. I hope I pronounced it right. If I didn't, I hope somebody lets me know in the comment section. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color comic book that I produce every month for my patrons. You can get it for $3 a month, and you get 12 pages of full-size, full-color comic book. And I have backup stories by Paul Courtjohn, Chris Knox, or any other kind of artist that I could get in here. And you can also check these out at my website, alexanderturbin.com, or Instagram. You can message me there at alexturbin04401 at Instagram, or alexturbin04401 at Yahoo, which is my email. And you can get all of these different books there. Some news. I'm increasing the pages of Random Access and kind of change things around a little bit and add more artists, and it's going to become a true anthology that I've wanted it to become. So if anybody wants to join the anthology process, let me know, and we'll talk about what we want to do. And I appreciate all of the support that you guys have given me over the years and continue to give me. So Just a Pilgrim. It's by, like I said, Garth Ennis and Carlos Ezquezera. And Garth Ennis is one of my favorite writers of all time. I generally don't follow comic books because of the artist. I mean, it's fantastic if I love the artist, but if the writing isn't something that I really am into and really enjoy, then I'm gonna not read that comic book for or continue to read it, because it's for me, it's like a TV show with great actors, but the plot is horrible and the writing is horrible. You don't keep watching it, or a movie or whatever. So the story and the writing has to be really is what I follow. And Garth Ennis, he's probably he's in my top 5. I don't know where he is within that top 5, but he's up there. But he's also one of the it's a funny one, because most of the writers that I follow, they have a lot of introspective about some sort of different philosophical view, or some, like, their stories are like either an analogy or metaphor or something like that for something else, something bigger, like Chris Claremont's The X-Men being about racism and stuff like that. So there's usually a bigger issue, but Garth Ennis isn't always like that. He mostly isn't. You probably know him mostly for writing The Boys, and for me, mostly Preacher. I love both of those books, and he's always pushing the envelope for weird and crazy stuff that he can do. And he's done a lot of stuff that people don't really know about, and one of them is Just a Pilgrim. And if you haven't checked out Just a Pilgrim, and you like Garth Ennis, and you like The Boys, and you like Preacher, and you like anything else that he's done, then you will love this, because this is primo Garth Ennis. So much of Garth Ennis's work is it's a Western disguised as something else. Preacher is a Western in a modern setting with a religious thing going on, and he also has a lot of thoughts about religious stuff going on, whether or not it's good or bad. But he kind of doesn't hold back any punches when it comes to religious philosophies and stuff like that. So this, just like almost all of his other work, is very kind of religious based, for good or ill. So let's get into this, and I think I've built it up quite a bit enough. So it came out in 2002, and it was by Black Bull Publishing. I don't know if they're still around or not. But this is a miniseries, and there was a second miniseries, I do believe. And the funny thing is, Carlos Ezquezera, his artwork is like a little bit more detailed Steve Dillon. I really like Steve Dillon's art, which is very weird, because it's I like it, but I don't like it. It's he's I don't know how to explain it because he's not one of my favorite artists, but all of the books that he does is one of my favorite books. So it's very hard thing to understand and to kind of quantify because Steve Dillon is. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at his art. Maybe we'll put him up against somebody in our artist poll. But I don't know. We'll have to check that out. But as I said, this Carlos Ezquezera, he is very much like Steve Dillon, only he puts in a little bit more. Um, uh, he's a little bit more detailed oriented, and he's more of a European artist. And I think Steve Dillon, I'm pretty sure he's Irish or Scottish. Scottish is Garth Ennis Scottish or Irish? I can't remember. I think he's Irish. Um, and I'm pretty sure Steve Dillon is Irish too. So he likes to work with people all around the globe. So it starts off. This is a post-apocalyptic book, and there's something happened called the burn, which I assume is either a nuclear war or some sort of something happened to the sun maybe, and there was like a solar flare or something. They don't really say it in the first issue. I'm sure they say it later on, and so the pilgrim, who is this guy here, and he's basically every troping Western character that you can think of. He's like hard as nails, and he's all of this stuff that Garth Ennis loves to put into his comic books, in his comic book characters. He's basically the saint of killers, only humanized. And one of the things that I will kind of ruin, I guess, is that no, yeah, I can't think of whether or not I should ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin the thing about him because he has a little bit of a secret, and I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody that does see this review and decides to go get the book because it is 100% really awesome. And I'm gonna review it already. It's a nine. It's a nine for me. What it could be for a 10, um, it could have a little bit more emotional resonance, I guess. But other than that, I mean, the art is fantastic. The writing's fantastic. Everything is great about it. I'm calling it a nine, but I could easily be convinced to call it a 10. It is a fantastic book. So he's just kind of going through, and he's always spouting these religious things because he's a super religious character. Although it starts out with a reckoning or a discussion or a flashback or something by one of the main characters who she's talking about how this is how they first met the pilgrim. And it's just like every other Clint Eastwood movie or whatever. He shows up into town, and he's a stranger, and he's a loner, and he's a drifter, and then he comes in and nobody knows anything about him, and he doesn't tell anything about it. He's very secretive, and they just kind of know him from there. And so he kind of just shows up, and I love this vista of the Marianas Trench, which is where this takes place, and it's part of the burn, and they get into that later on. But he just kind of makes it into this trench, this canyon. So he's walked from the United States or whatever to wherever the Marianas Trench. I'm not entirely sure. Is it off of Australia? I think I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure. But then it goes to who was one of the main characters, and she's laying there in a tree, next to a tree, taking a little nap or whatever, and a serpent comes down, and you think it's going to bite her or whatever, but it's really her friend. It's her pet. It's got an apple for her, and he's a good snake. So then it goes kind of to the next scene where another character is introduced. I can't really remember their names. Christine and Cameron. Christine and Cameron. So remember Christine and Cameron because they're really two of the main characters that are introduced and kind of go through. You can notice that it's really lush here. And it's the burn. Like this is the Marianas Trench outside, but then I guess inside the canyon, it's really lush and has really all kinds of overgrown stuff and everything like that. And you start to realize through the locations and the stuff like that it's being held together serendipitously. Is that the correct usage of that word. I'm not entirely sure. But it's being held together with lights and artificial technology and stuff like that. So then it goes back to the pilgrim. I keep wanting to call him the preacher, but he's the pilgrim, and he's making his way down the Mariana Trench, and these zombie kind of creatures start to attack him. It's very typical end of the world Armageddon stuff going on, and he starts blasting them, but they keep chasing him, and he doesn't know what to do because even though he blasts them, they still come at him, and so he's fighting, but then this hover carrier comes, and it's the two characters, Christine and Cameron, and they yell for him to shoot them in the heart, and that's the only way to stop him. So once he realizes that, he just starts blasting with his gun because he's a total badass, and he could just pretty much kill anything, anyone, and he's just blasting away. But Cameron helps him a little bit with his machine gun, and they. First, she's like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And then Cameron's like, he's a human being. We're going to help him. We're not horrible people yet. So they tell him to jump into the hover carrier. It's not a helicopter. It's got these, I don't know what you call it. Where's another picture? These things, these thrusters or whatever. So it's not a helicopter because it's got those. Unless it's moving around, but I don't think there are any blades on that. So I think because we don't really have this technology yet, I think it is a little bit in the future. This was done in 2002. That's probably thinking that it's in 2025 because everyone thinks we're going to have flying cars by now, but we don't. So maybe it's in 2030. Maybe we'll have flying cars by then. So they just kind of introduce themselves to the pilgrim, and they ask him where he's from and what he's doing and everything. And then he kind of tells them that he's from California. So I guess did he walk from California? No, came through the canal 3 years back. So I think he's from the East. So I think he's from the East Coast, and he walked over the ocean, which is now, since the burn, it's now it's a like a wasteland, and it's not the ocean anymore, I guess, which I was thinking about that. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. If there was a burn, wouldn't it have just sent the water from the ocean or whatever into the atmosphere, and then the atmosphere would just rain it again? Unless it burned away some of the atmosphere and maybe some of the water drifted off into space from the ocean. That's possible too. So I'm collecting my no prize. Thank you very much. So they land, and they're just telling him all about their community. How after the burn, they found the lowest point on the planet, which was the Marianas Trench, and they feel like there was water there. So they went to the Marianas Trench with all kinds of equipment. There was like 95 of them before, so they must have had some military support, some governmental support, something like that, some last ditch effort to repopulate humanity or something like that. So they get to the Marianas Trench, and there is water there, and they desalinate it with their equipment and stuff. That's what leads me to believe that it's in the future, because all of this equipment that they have, it's readily available. Like, would anybody, normal person, be able to find a desalination equipment? Although they're scientists, so they could have figured out how to do it anyway. So they tell them all about how they've got this little colony here, and but these creatures with the glowing eyes that turn people into zombies, they keep attacking the colony, and it's actually killed her father, and they don't have the heart to tell her that he's dead. But they tell him all about their colony, how they moved from California, to the Marianas Trench and all of that stuff, and how they've got all of these fruits and vegetables, but no meat. For some reason, nothing wants to breed there. So I don't know what they're doing about recolonizing and repopulating the planet or whatever. So he doesn't offer up any information about himself except for where he's from, and they just kind of go back and forth and stuff. And then they finally go to the father of the girl who died, and they don't have the heart to tell her. Who is it? Maggie. They don't have the heart to tell her, and that her father is dead. And he was taken over by this creature, and it's they call them sliders, and they're like these little glowing creatures, kind of like, I guess, kind of like The Last of Us has the mold creatures, the mushroom creatures that kind of take over human bodies. They have this here, which is, I guess, more reminiscent of the what are they called in Stargate? The gold. The gold are these little things that infest the body. They take over the chest, and they work the nervous system and get him to move and everything. And they have this whole discussion on where they're from and what makes them tick and all of that stuff. And but they just kind of say, we're scientists, and they're coming back, and they keep coming back and attacking us, and we can defend ourselves, but they're getting smarter, and they're getting braver, and they're attacking us more heavily. And then they kind of reach this room where there's all of this DNA from all around the world, and has all of the animal, sea life, and mammal life, and everything that they have in storage. So there must have been, like I said, some sort of governmental last ditch effort kind of thing. And they ask him, actually, does he want to give them some of his sperm to procreate the species? And he's just kind of disgusted by that. But then the snake, her pet, comes down and is like saying hello to her, and he blasts its head off, and she gets all pissed off about it. And he says, you have no meat. I don't know whether they're going to eat the snake, but he says, you have no meat. Maybe I can help you with that. And then it cuts to another scene where I think there's supposed to be kids. Later on, after this page, there's kids, but I guess a shark came in to wherever their stream or river down at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and it's just floating around. And then there are some kids there, and Cameron, and they're just kind of talking about the creatures that have taken over the people and made them into zombies. It's basically zombies. I mean, Last of Us is zombies. You can call them spore, mold, whatever, but they're zombies. I mean, come on. So these are like eye glowing zombies. Maybe they're aliens. Maybe they're just mutated by whatever the burn was. They don't know. So. Huh. So I'm sorry. I just saw this Garden of Eden, just a pilgrim, Garden of Eden #2. There is no Garden of Eden. It's just a Oh, there's the title, Garden of Eden. I thought this was just regular. I can't remember if this is the first. I'm pretty sure this is the first appearance of the pilgrim. And this is the first issue that has the pilgrim in it. And there's like one or two other miniseries with him in it. And I cannot think of whether or not I should do the spoiler about what his secret is. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. If somebody asks me in the comment section, I'm going to tell them. And just so if you don't want to know in the comment section, and you do want to, or you don't want to know, keep away the comment section. But if you do want to know, just let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know. So it's to be continued. There's some sort of creature, and it's going to go try to kill Cameron and Maggie. That's really the only three characters, other than the doctor, who really isn't there for very long. So it's not really, doesn't seem like it's a long comic book, but Garth Ennis books don't really seem like they're very long, because the plots are just so tight, and the pacing is just so tight that you kind of you go through reading this, and it's not like an anime, manga, or whatever, where it's just like not a whole lot going on in the episode or the issue or whatever. There's a lot packed in. There's a lot of narration. There's a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of backstory, and there's a lot of plot going on. But he just compacts things so perfectly that it seems like not a whole lot going on, but you're given a lot of information, and it's such in a joyous way. One of the things I do kind of think about Garth Ennis is that his dialogue, he kind of makes people very stereotypical. So he'll make his all of his people are either super badass or they're just kind of nerdy, and they all just kind of talk that way. So his people are very stereotypical, and his dialogue kind of reflects that. But on the other hand, it's very I love reading it, and it's a joy to read, and it's unusual in its own special kind of way. He's got his own special kind of way. One of the things that's missing from this is that a lot of Garth Ennis work has weird either sexual innuendos or just kind of gross stuff. As if you've seen The Boys, you know what I'm talking about. And Preacher, same thing. But this really doesn't have that. This is more like a western that is post-apocalyptic, and he's just kind of going through that vein. And it's more just an action thing. And I think he doesn't want to taint it with any of that weird Garth Ennis style stuff that he does, which I really kind of appreciate. I also appreciate the artist using different panel colors around the panel borders. It starts with black, which I just found this out. I mean, I just discovered this. I don't know why I didn't discover this as I was reading it, but it starts with black, and then the borders kind of change a little bit, and then there's like some blue panels, and then there's some purple panels. So color really does play a huge part in this. Now the panel borders are a grayish color, and then it turns to like a teal. So it's giving you a sense of atmosphere. Not only is the art doing it, but the panel borders are doing it also. I don't know why I didn't realize that. That is fantastic. I love that. That is. It turns to a purple. That is really fantastic. I love that. Let me know. Are there any other comic books that do that? I don't think there are. I really don't. But that's really cool. So it's to be continued, and I love it. Like I said, I'm giving it a 9. I could give it higher, but like some of the stuff that probably keeps it from that is there's not any emotional gravitas. Like he does that a little bit with Maggie. There's a little girl who her father is dead, and they don't want to tell her that, and that's kind of it's a building up kind of point, and really later on it kind of comes to a head. So here you go, Just a Pilgrim, #1 by Garth Ennis and Carlos Ezquezera, from Black Bull Publishing. It's a fantastic read. I would really recommend it wholeheartedly to anybody. If you like Garth Ennis, if you don't like Garth Ennis, then I would probably stay away from it. But if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, leaving a comment, and thumbs up. I love thumbs up from you guys. It gives me a little bit of a confidence boost that I'm headed in the right direction with these reviews and stuff. So this is basically kind of stuff I review. I review indie comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, but really anything odd and different or something unique or whatever. So thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. And we've got a live stream coming up this weekend with Joe, and more comic books coming up. And we've got some really cool stuff coming up with Random Access. So stay tuned, and like always, keep on creating.